Hey guys, welcome to another episode of JavaScript. Today we're going to take a look at ES6 features or ECMAScript 2015 features. So we're going to look at var, let and const. We're going to look at default values in functions, null coalescing operator, template literals, array destructuring, object destructuring, finally async and await. So without much further ado, let's start with var, let and const. So basically, let's say for example, if I do x equals 10, I do here console.log of x. If I declare var x here, what happens is that there's something called hoisting, which moves the declaration to the top of the stack here. That's the reason why we are able to declare like this. And if I do node ES6.js, you can see the value as 10. Whereas you cannot do the same with let. It's going to throw an error because it's a block scoped variable. You can see the error here, cannot access x before initialization. So that's on the var and let. Const is pretty straightforward. All you do is const is for constants 3.14. You cannot assign it again. So let's say if I do console.log of pi, you're gonna get 3.14, but after this one I cannot reassign to something here. It's gonna throw an error as well. Right here, assignment to a constant variable. So that's on the var, let and const. Next we're gonna look at default values in functions. So let's say I have a function fn which takes name, age, and all I'm doing is console.log name, age, and I'm gonna call this function with name as Bob and age as 40. It's pretty straightforward. You can see the name and the age getting printed. But what if I don't want to provide the age here, like 40? What if I want to just pass in Bob, for example? You can do something called default value for the variable here. So let's say if I do node 6, you'll get Bob and the age is 40 because 40 is the default value here. Similarly, you can give it for the name itself. I can say Jack here, and if I don't call the function fn without any value, you're gonna get Jack followed by 40 as the age. So that's it on the default values for function arguments. So next we're going to take a look at null coalescing operator. So let's say for example, right, so let x equals 10, okay, and I'm going to say let res equals x question mark 20. So what this means is, if x is a defined value and not null, it's going to get assigned to the variable res. But if x is null or undefined, then 20 is going to get assigned to res. So let's look at the example while we're running the code. Currently it says the value 10 here because x is defined as 10. But now if I say x as null here, you can see the value 20. Similarly, if I don't have any definitions right here, I just declare that variable without any assignment, you're going to see the value 20 as well. So that's basically the use of null coalescing operator. You can reduce an if-else condition by just using this operator right here. So let's look at template literals. So let's say I have let name equals Bob, let age equals 40. Template literal is nothing but console.log. It starts with backticks. So I can just say here my name is, use the dollar curly braces, the variable name, and my age is dollar curly braces and age. So you start off with a backtick, and within that backtick you can reference a particular variable using dollar curly braces, and when you run this guy, you're gonna see my name is Bob and my age is 40. So that's a simple intro on template literals. Now let's look at array destructuring and object destructuring. So let's say I have so let ARR equals, so I would, let's say I have Bob here and 40. So all I can do is I can just say let res name comma age equals ARR. So if I do console.log name comma age, you're gonna see Bob and undefined. You see Bob and you're gonna see Bob and 40. So that's basically what this array destructuring is. So if I have to look at object destructuring, right? So what happens to object destructuring is basically like you have an object. So let obj equals name comma Bob and age colon 40. So this is an object. So now what I can do is I can just say, const name or n, or just say person, and age equals obj. Now if I do console.log, if I do person comma age, oops, it's the other way around. You'll see Bob and 40. So this is basically destructuring. So I have, basically it works like this. If you have the same property name, you don't have to do a colon, a variable name here. But if you want to reference name as person, you have to do name colon person. So the person's variable's value is going to be assigned from the name's value within the object. So that's on object destructuring. So finally, let's look at async and await. So async and await is basically working with promises. So you start off with a function with async keyword function fn. In here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say let promise equals, I'm going to say new promise of, it takes a resolve and reject as params, and here is an arrow function. This is binded to this automatically, and I'm going to say return resolve of 1. So when I call this function, now what I have to do is in here, so let's say I'll just say do result equals, I use an await keyword of promise. So what this does is it basically awaits on the promise, meaning it makes this promise synchronous call rather than asynchronous. So every time a promise is basically used for asynchronous calls, but if you want to wait for the result right away, you have to use the keyword await, and this await keyword can only be used within an async function, a function which is denoted by the async keyword at the beginning. So once I have the result, I'm going to just print it out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a call to the function. You can see here the return value is 1. That is because I'm returning a promise right here with the value 1. So when I resolve this promise, the value 1 will be returned. So when I do an await of promise, it's going to return me the value 1 right away. So that's on async and await. So these are some basic features of ES6 or ECMAScript 2015. Hope this video was useful. If you like this video, leave a comment, give a like, share and subscribe to my channel. Peace out. Thank you.